Glinda's Popular dress from the original musical of Wicked. This is sort of the silhouette I'm envisioning for the project. And here are a couple inspirational images from the musical. So what I need to do, I need to make the corset, the skirt, I have a wig. So if you know anything about me, it's that I absolutely hate following patterns, especially for corsets. So the very first thing that I did was buy this corset from Amazon, and I'm just gonna try to build on top of this corset so that I don't have to follow a pattern or build a corset from scratch. So I'm gonna go dig into my bins of pink fabric. I'm just gonna hope that I have something, and let's get started.
A few moments later.
This corset does not fit me at all. It's way too small. So I cut it down the sides so that I can just sort of like drape it. And then I will add a side zipper later. But I found these two pieces of fabric and I'm gonna layer them on top of each other. And what I'm really trying to decide is I pinned this dark pink fabric onto the corset thinking that I would sew that layer on and then sew the other layer on. But now I'm just wondering, should I sew both layers together first? And if I do that, will it lay completely flat? I don't know. But ultimately, I think that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna sew the two layers of fabric together and then sew it onto the corset. All right, that part is done. Here it is sewn onto the corset. Okay, next I'm going to pin the seam binding on and then sew it in place. I don't think you need to watch me do this part, so let's just speed ahead. Okay, pretty much all sewn. Okay, now I'm just gonna fold all of these edges over, just pinning them under, and then I will go and do the seam binding all along this edge. All right, for some reason it seems like I'm missing this video, but basically, I tried on the corset and it was completely see-through. So I ended up building a lining out of like a thick cotton type material, and I sewed the whole lining together, and then I just used a spray adhesive to kind of quickly adhere it to the main part of the corset. And I knew that when I was going to be sewing the seam binding onto the front of the corset, it was inevitably going to sew the lining in place. So that is how I got it to stay. So here's the seam binding sewn at the bottom of the corset, but the big thing I wish I had realized is that this ribbon from the original corset is now sandwiched between the corset and the lining, and I just really wish that I had removed that because you can definitely see it showing through, and now there's just nothing I can do about it at this point, so it is what it is, I guess. Alright, so I basically decided last night, I said there's nothing I can do about the ribbon in the middle of the corset, but then I decided I truly can't live with it and I have to do whatever I can to get it out because it's so noticeable when it's on. So I carefully cut the lining with a razor blade and painstakingly cut out the ribbon, and here's the end result. So now I'm gonna go outside with some spray adhesive, carefully spray this and get all these little threads to lay down, and then I've sewn another piece of lining to glue inside to hopefully just not show through this other side. We won't be able to tell because right now you can see like now the cut places are like kind of noticeable, but it's better than the ribbon. So I just don't understand like why I didn't realize that this was gonna show, but what's done is done. Here's what the lining ended up looking like with the extra piece glued in. Definitely not perfect, but hey, who's seeing the inside of the corset anyways? Alright, it is the end of my second or third day working on this costume, and I'm actually pretty impressed by the progress that I've made. So here's what I've got so far. I'm really happy with it. What I have to do, this one I did upside down. I thought I was doing the bottom, but I was doing the top. So finish out the bottom here, finish out the top here, but I haven't done the top, except this where I messed up, because the main thing I need to do is the draping of this fabric over the bust area, and I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do that, but that's really the main thing left on the corset. I added pink bra straps that I ordered. It's about this much open on me, so it does need a panel back here that I need to add. Do I really need to for this project? No, probably not, but if I want it to be able to be worn for live events, then it would need a panel. So this is almost done. So now it was time to work on draping the fabric over the chest. So I am done machine sewing it down along this bottom edge, but I was trying to figure out how I'm gonna sew the back side of the top, and I think my only option is gonna be hand sewing, so that's what I'm gonna do. Is where I sewed in the side zipper so that I can get in and out of it without having to loosen and tighten this every single time. So I did decide that I would feel more comfortable in this dress if I had kind of an underlayer. So I went to the thrift store and I bought this. It's basically like a dress. So it's gonna give me a whole underlayer going all the way down. This will kind of serve as a slip to go underneath the skirt. And then it's long sleeves. I don't love that it's kind of a square neckline. Yeah, I wouldn't choose that, but it is what it is. And I sewed these elastics on that will go around my middle finger because I always feel like my hands look really big, and I've noticed that when I have sort of this shape going down onto my hand, it makes my hands look like a little bit daintier and smaller, which I think for something like Glinda, when you're going for that dainty look, is important. Okay, I'm finally able to start on the skirt. So here's what I found at the thrift store because I need a base for the skirt because again, pattern adverse. So I bought this dress. I was just searching for something like flared out like a skater skirt with a little bit of tulle underneath to give it a little bit more volume. Actually, this dress could literally be Glinda as it is, but it would never fit me and it's not the version that we're making. So what I'm gonna do is first, I'm gonna turn it inside out so that all these ruffles are the underlayer, like a petticoat, like this. And then I'll determine at the end if I want this to show or not. So I'm gonna cut off all of this of the dress. I'll pin it together before I cut it, figure out what fits me around the waist, and then I'll add an elastic waistband so that I basically have this layer of lining, what was once the lining, that I'm gonna mount the ruffle on, and then this ruffle is the new lining of the skirt. And I bought this on Etsy. I'm definitely questioning if this is enough. I think it probably is not. I got 6 yards of it. But I'm gonna put, I think it's 3 layers that she has of this ruffle. 1, 2, 3, kind of like layers like a cake. And that'll be sewn onto the pink lining, and hopefully it'll look like what it's supposed to look like. So first step, I'm going to pin this light pink layer to the under layer so that when I cut it, they don't all fall apart. Sew it all the way around, and then add the elastic waistband so that I have the base of the skirt. All right, good news. It's beautiful. I love it. It's so nice. Terrible news is one time around took, I ordered 6 yards, but I swear when I measure it, there's 4. So I'm thinking what happened is that maybe they stretch it when they measure it. I don't know, but anyway, I just bought 15 more yards of this. Since this is so long, I'm gonna commit to 3 layers instead of 4, but I can also have this as like an extra little layer, which I think will be cute, but I'll sew this one in place, but yeah, dang it, definitely not enough. I have the 1 layer done, and I just have to wait a couple weeks for more of this to arrive. So I'm gonna go try it all on and let's see how it looks so far. Okay, so here it is. I love right here where it like meets. I think it's really cute. I think one more seam binding here will really pull it together. Yeah, I think once it has 2 to 3 more layers of this, it's gonna be so cute.
One eternity later.
Okay, this arrived. Perfect. Okay, so I am going to add 2 more layers of this and see where we're at. So with that, this dress is finally complete. I will see you in the final result. She is complete. Very happy. So let's start with what I would do differently. This never really draped the way I would have wanted. You can kind of see in here in these cups that like it does not lay flat, which always makes it look like it's like just puckering in a weird way here. See, even the cup light here is like, it's just not good. It's not good. So I would sew that a lot better on both cups, but at this point it's just like not worth fixing. I would, as I mentioned before, add a panel to it if I was gonna wear it in person. And I would add the little lines that she has in the original version. I think that would just be really cute, but I kind of didn't remember that I hadn't added them until after I'd done the seam binding, and I did not want to either take all the seam binding off or redo the seam binding a second time on top of the ribbon details, so I just determined for this project I wasn't going to do it. So those are things I would add or do differently in another iteration of this project. I really like how the skirt turned out. It's super flouncy and really cute. I don't know that I love this showing from underneath. Maybe I would do these like slightly closer together and do a fourth layer, but that's just being kind of nitpicky. I do really like the skirt. If you liked watching this video, please subscribe. I have so many more fun projects coming. I hope to see you in the next video. Bye!